Yesterday and the day before, I had very difficult shifts mentally. And this is a video that I wanted to make yesterday after I got off work, but I was in a time pinch. It's just difficult for me to express this despite me sharing this a lot on the channel because I just don't know what life would be like with work existing in a way that it doesn't chip away at my mind. It doesn't chip away at my soul. It doesn't feel like it's reducing my lifespan after every shift. Of course, I'm not a soldier, I'm not military personnel, I'm not a first responder type of thing, but you would think that is the way that they may feel because they're actually exposed to physical dangers that are more threatening. And I guess getting attention for that, getting relief from that would be more challenging. No one is looking at someone who works in a building or in an office or something a little more slightly laid back than those things and thinking that person is struggling. That person is being challenged by the job, especially if you actually get to see with your own eyes what happens on the job outside of linemen working on stuff. You understand that there's a danger to what they're doing. But your day to day, when you are in a safe environment, interacting with a worker who's also sharing that safe environment with you, you're not really thinking about that person is going through some things unless there is something visible about them, like a visible disability or something like that. Something extreme has to happen, something has to stand out for you to probably become aware of such a thing. But when it comes to me and my personal mental struggles with the job, it's not just my current role, my current job in retail. It's any job would do this to me because of how it consumes time, consumes resources, consumes energy, consumes the better times of my day. It drains my energy, my enthusiasm for the day. And even if I did a job that is exciting, that legitimately doesn't make me feel this way, like it's a job that I can get up for and be there on time and enjoy every second of it, it's still work, meaning that there is a performance you have to put out, meaning there are metrics and goals and numbers and targets that you gotta hit. Therefore, when you think about it like that, as in you have to produce something to earn living, that is the part that just kills me because it's not just about what it does to me, but it's also how we're all in this together in our respective roles, but it's how it changes you in ways that you were probably not meant to be changed. An example of this I can provide is even though I'm a miserable, sad, depressed, moody bastard who's always melancholic, deep down, I know, I have felt, I have sensed that naturally my soul is a happier one. And I know it because I see it, especially when I experience genuine excitement, genuine moments of joy. I see the light in my eyes, I see the brightness in my smile. I watch my own self and I make my own self happy. I make my own self smile. I give myself so much life and so much energy. But when I'm at the job, I have to change that for my safety. I have to become a little bit more serious, especially depending on who I'm dealing with and what I'm dealing with. And there's also the aspect of how you dress. At least at the place I work, we have a pretty lax dress code policy. But you know that you're dressing for work because you have to don a uniform of some sort. You are becoming now a representative of this other thing that is not yours, that you are not really shaping or designing. It's something that is, once again, expected of you, and it's being a consumer of your spirit, of your soul. When you show up as a teacher, for instance, you have to present yourself as such: professional, clean, how you talk, that matters, all those things, those little details. You may know an extremely jovial person, an extremely jovial, say, policeman, to give an example. And you know them when they're not wearing the uniform to be fun, loving, caring, funny, smart, and all that. But at some point, while they're on duty and they put on that uniform, like you feel their energy change because it has to. And maybe when you see them out there performing their role, they have to change their tone in some cases. They have to display physical, I guess, aggression that you may not be used to. Their nonverbal communication shifts from what you're used to seeing them as, which is that relaxed, more energetic, more jovial person with light in their eyes. You see them turn into this individual who is aware, and we are aware, they're performing a dangerous job. They definitely want to make it home despite them understanding the dangers that lurk in their role. At the end of the day, once you're alive, you don't want to stop being alive, and you want to continue to be alive, feeling well, feeling great. But there is something that we have invented to take that away from us. In some ways, we have progressed. Like, I'm grateful that I can live past something like 20 and that my teeth are not going to rot away at a fast rate or something, and that little tiny things that used to take us out can be addressed now and you can ride through it more comfortably. But I'm saying what it means for us to get there, and how some things ultimately, to me, don't really have value when I think about how I'm a resident of this uneven sphere of dirt, water, and air. And I just think about how we come up with things that demand for us to change, to adjust to it so that we can be productive. Anything from we move fast, we need to think fast, we need to talk fast in some instances, all those little things. Like, for me, after I'm done with a shift, let it be a shift at the store or on some of the side stuff I do, I'm like, I just feel how this absorbed something from me. It just drained something from me. Fortunately, the channel, because I don't chase the algorithm, because I don't waste time on production, all I do is trim my stutters and any sniffles and stuff so that it can flow and sound better. That's about all I'm willing to do. Because of that, I can say this is the thing that after all these years, I feel zero resentment toward. Whether y'all say nice things to me, whether y'all challenge me, even more rewarding, it's when I make good, worthwhile connections with some of you, all that. That shit doesn't bother me because I have full control of it. I have been doing this on my own time. I present myself how I truly mean to present myself, with that tone that I want to use, with that energy I want to use. I don't have to be extra. Nobody's telling me, why don't you smile more? And which is the whole reason, or I guess one of the pressing reasons why I prefer to keep wearing my mask and all that. And the folks who may try to say something about my appearance, I can ignore the fuck out of you. I don't have to engage. Whereas in person, when you make a comment about my appearance, which is clearly crossing a line, and I ignore you, you'll be like, you hear what I said? And I'll continue to ignore you and be like, thanks, have a good one. Like, I like that here, it's like I may see it written down for 1 second, I can dismiss it, and I don't have to deal with it again until the next one. But when the next one comes again, I can just ignore it and it's over. But in person, there's the folks who They just cannot accept that they're being dismissed and leave it at that. No, they gotta press and fish for a reaction out of you, which I will continue to not provide. But the fact that I have to do that at all because this person doesn't have a better sense, they don't get it, they don't pick up on it immediately, or better yet, they don't refrain from that shit, it just kills me. Like, I can see how I have to revert to being serious because those who don't know me misunderstand my behaviors. And for instance, yesterday I happened to be hugging my boyfriend because it was my first time seeing him in the morning. We were at work, and then you get someone who made an innocent comment. They had an entire floor space anywhere at all that you could use to walk to your destination, but he decides to walk by the area we were at. This was happening near my checkout lane. And I'm thinking you could have walked through the places where there were no people standing, do all that, but no, you had to walk between us and make a comment about where is the hug button or the hug deal. I forget what he said, what he phrased, whatever. When I think about it critically, when I consider what I observed about him being by himself, him being older, it's like, okay, it's possible that this is a person who doesn't get hugged often, and maybe they're craving that, or maybe they don't get it as often as they need, or something like that. And I can feel empathy toward that. I truly can. I went my adolescent years with very little to no physical contact, almost. And that shit sucked. But when I think about this from an adult perspective, I think of it as I just cannot imagine a life in which I go around in public and actively express my vulnerabilities. And when this guy came back to check out, he could have done self checkout. I don't remember if he paid cash. I don't care. But he came over, and once again, he had to bring that up. And this time I was by myself. And he was like, the way you hugged that guy, I need to find the hug button, the hug deal, something like that. Now, this second time, given that this is the second time, the first time we didn't entertain him, but now I'm by myself and he's there, I'm thinking of it as, could it be one of those instances when this person says something like that because maybe somewhere else or in the past someone has used that comment that he's made, felt empathy, and they were like, oh, you look like you need a hug. You sound like you need a hug. Come here. I'm not that kind of person. It's not his responsibility to figure that I'm not that kind of person. But I'm just trying to express that when I run into situations like that, I run into interactions like that, I have my guard up because unfortunately, there are people with ill intent in this world. I have experienced it, I have gone through it. And fortunately, I think because of my ability to know how to handle that and how to pick up on it, I have kept myself safe when I could have been in an unsafe situation. But an instance like that, because I'm assessing whether this is a threat or not, all I can do is not entertain it. I did not comment back at all. I just maintained that interaction about business, strictly business, and that's it. But again, because I felt like I had to have my guard up, which fortunately all I do is dismiss and ignore and not respond to non work related commentary, it triggers that defense mechanism in me, and that defense trigger is stressful. Even if it's just a little bit stressful, just a tad bit, again, it represents a wound from battle, a wound from my job. Because if I could stay here at home, I wouldn't have to run into that. I wouldn't have to go through that. And those little nicks and cuts and bruises and wounds that I get in a shift from the shit that people say, the unnecessary ignorance. Like yesterday, it seemed like everybody, especially every old person who came into a store by themselves, all of a sudden, I see you almost every day. you did not know how to use the payment terminal. And there was this one lady who absolutely appalled me from a security standpoint because she kept very out loud talking to herself, talking about all of her intentions, going like, I'm gonna use this card first. I need you to spend this amount on it, and then I'm going to use another card, and on that card, I'm going to request cash back because I want that cash back to look like it came out of this account, but it's because I spent the money from that account because I can't request cash back using that other account. I don't know. She just described some shit. And then she kept talking about this out loud. And she also, without me asking, I was just standing there waiting for the payment to process, keeping an eye on the computer. She was like, isn't that crazy? I have to take money out from my checking to my savings, or vice versa, from my savings to my checking, but I have to split the transaction like this. And another comment she made was aloud. She kept, as she punched in her PIN number, she was saying her PIN number out loud. Okay? Those little things, I look at that and I feel sad because I'm like, if that were my grandma, I would hope that someone takes care of her as opposed to someone taking advantage of her. But that is how you become a victim of shit. Those little moments of not being aware, not having self awareness, and then I feel like if I want to be a good person and a good worker and I don't know, maybe protect somebody in my position, like my version of what I'm capable of providing as protection, I could orient that person and be like, ma'am, just to give you a heads up, I recommend that you process this payment quietly because you don't know who's listening. Or don't trust who's ringing you up. Unfortunately, people with jobs, they also can be bad people. They do commit crimes. They do things that hurt other people. Fortunately, I'm not one of them. And because I'm not, I'm able to advise you and orient you on this. But I also don't want to do that because it's not my place. I don't want for there to be a misunderstanding. And I don't want to entertain people like that. I don't want to engage with you like that. I'm not supposed to be educating you on these things. And what if this is the onset of a condition in the brain for this person and they don't have that diagnosed? I am observing those behaviors. Maybe I know more about them from what I observed them doing in their retail visit more than their family knows about them. See what I mean? All those little things, when you think about it, because you care and you actually live an existence where you're present, conscious, active, invested, you have a right to feel the fatigue, to feel the frustration. But when you express yourself like this, you're met with the fools who will dismiss you and invalidate you, saying things like, well, you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or you have to make whatever sacrifices you gotta make to get ahead, or all that bullshit. Like, there's just no empathy, no care, none of that, because all you're thinking about is the capitalism mentality of make sure you have investments, make sure that you pick up as many shifts as possible, make sure that you're always working out, make sure you don't weigh a certain amount, make sure you don't eat too much of a certain thing, make sure all those little goddamn details, 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 details. And inside, it's chipping away at you silently because fortunately I'm not controlled by those things. You guys know I eat. Some days I overeat, some days I undereat, but I eat. I'm alive. Y'all see me. I'm breathing. But I also understand why there are some people that just melt the fuck down and they do bad things and hurt a big number of people. And the other instances is you may observe someone self destructing because they legit cannot handle it. And I know that I sometimes share stories of me criticizing folks in those situations. I don't want it to look like I'm coming from a place of like hatred. I'm just saying that I see a common factor, which is how you get by is shaping you. And I just wish we were not so judgmental about that and just openly acknowledge that, hey, work sucks sometimes, or maybe a lot of the time. That's going to translate onto your home. Like, are you as organized, as put together, as high performance as you are at your job at your home? Probably fucking not. Because at home, you're looking at it as nobody's evaluating me, nobody's judging me, so I can get a better or less raise during my next evaluation, whatever the fuck. Therefore, oh, the dishes, they can wait. The trash, it can wait. Pest control, it can wait. Taking care of yourself, taking care of your home, taking care of your pets, all of that gets put to the back burner when that's supposed to be the shit that takes utmost priority. But no, what are we doing? Oh, I can't call out because I'll get fired. Or I cannot miss out on some money on this paycheck. All of that. Just living in this constant fucking crunch. And it's all about the decisions that you make determine what kind of life you're going to live. There's no way that you can genuinely, legitimately enjoy a simple life because otherwise you'll get eaten up by something. If you live humbly, then you won't be able to afford some things, or you'll be living on the edge, or you're just one flood away from everything being taken. You're one car wreck away from another financial ruin. You are one trip to the emergency room away before your situation just changes entirely. But no, somehow I'm supposed to be here and I need to smile more and all that. No, you feel it the way you feel it. This sucks, and you better look and act and sound like shit sucks. It's okay for you to be unhappy. You don't have to be attacking people whose fault it isn't directly because you feel that way. Not at all. But I'm just saying, stop putting a uniform or a disguise on top of what's really going on with you. Like when I look upset, miserable, and stressed, it's because I am upset, miserable, and stressed about something. I embrace it and I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to be rude to you. I don't hate you. I'm fine with you. But don't start messing with me because you want to see a version of me that I am not. You want to see the bright, the smiley, the energetic, whatever version of me. And that's not what I can give because it's not right. It's not my season to be feeling that way. And if we were granted the ability to feel feelings, you feel them and period. If you ain't hurting anybody, your feelings are valid. Your feelings are fine. Let them overcome you. Maybe that anger will inspire you to change something. Like the times I have shared my stories about work. I got pissed off one day. I blew up at whoever I had to blow up at. It was their fault. And shit changed. Now I'm living a better experience at the job. Unfortunately, I can't do this with other people who need it because otherwise I'll suffer bad consequences. It won't be a rewarding experience. I'm not supposed to be keeping others in check who need it because this is a place that enables a lot of bad behavior to get through. But when you see things like teachers quitting and cops quitting and all those little things, all these people letting go of those positions that used to maintain order, and we start seeing the consequences of it, why doesn't that terrify you? Even working in retail, it shouldn't be this difficult. It shouldn't be this crazy. We're just scanning, bagging, selling something. But somehow you can find a way to make a big deal out of that. Whether it be I didn't greet you with the proper pitch, or maybe I've had people in the past, even though I look at everybody in the eye, but sometimes when you're trying to make eye contact, maybe they move and then you move to look at the screen or scan something. I have had old bitches tell me something like, "You haven't made eye contact with me." I was utterly shocked. I didn't entertain it at all, so I just looked at her and I told her her total. Anytime I'm saying something to the customer especially now that I'm a seasoned at my job as I am. I can look at them. But somehow some of these clowns be getting offended about that. Imagine if I decided to be offended anytime y'all don't greet me, y'all don't look at me, which I don't care if you look at me or not, because that's petty, or if y'all didn't say thanks, all of that. That one sided, one way street of you can feel some type of way, but I don't have the right to feel some type of way, even though your behavior is worse than mine. Those little things are like battle wounds for me. And like I said, whether I work retail, whether I were a teacher, whether I were, I don't know, the owner of some company, I will feel that way because this is something that happens everywhere, anywhere, anytime there is people, other people, other people processing their shit either without coaching, without help, without assistance, without supervision, whatever it is. There's a lot of people out here not qualified to be handling themselves on their own. And that is unfortunate. But at the same time, it shouldn't fall on the rest of us to address that with everybody. Because again, energy, effort, and output that you supply outside of your home is energy, effort, and output that should have gone into your home, not making it to your home, and then your home is fucking falling apart. And your body is also breaking down and you're aging. And you're not getting any of that time back. So, yeah, talk about your battle wounds. They're real. Don't let anyone make you feel any less. Or like you don't have a right to feel that way because be grateful that you have a job. Be grateful that you work in a building with air conditioner. This and that. It doesn't matter. Battle wounds are battle wounds no matter what shape they take or when they happen. They happen, period. So, yeah, you guys, I wanted to just share that because I'm glad that this shit happens because yesterday I remember exactly how I felt. I could feel like my dark energy. It's like I have a light to me, but then I start feeling it dimming to where I see myself glowing in gray, if that makes sense. And I know that something is chipping away at me, and I know exactly what it is, but because I don't see a resolution in sight, I don't have the power to change that. Then that powerlessness is what eats away at me. So I just prefer to indulge in the frustration because it makes me feel alive. And when I feel that way, it just motivates me to keep going and keep giving it everything I have. So, anyways, you guys, I don't expect for this to be relatable or be something that makes sense to you, but if you resonated with any of it, share it with me and let me know. Share it with me and let me know because it really helps me. It's different, a different discussion. And it's not a discussion that is appropriate everywhere that you go. It requires a time and a place. And sometimes it can bring a lot of shame, and you may not be able to bring it out in person. So maybe let this be the place for you to have a little bit of an escape. Clearly, it's an escape for me.